Flosstube, welcome back. I'm Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, both here on YouTube and on Instagram, so I'm easy to find in both places. And this is my channel about cross stitch. So if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you back for another weekly cross stitch happy hour. It is Sunday, July, is it the 26th, 27th? 26th. So it's Sunday, July 26th, and we're back for another cross stitch happy hour. Cheers. Today is pretty simple, uncomplicated. We had brats for dinner. If your adult beverage of choice with brats is not a beer, I don't know. That seems a little crazy to me. So beer it is. My go-to is just a Blue Moon Belgian White. And you can tell it was a busy day, and we were just going easy peasy because I didn't even slice up an orange. I usually will slice an orange, but it's been a crazy week, guys. This week flew by so fast, and the weekend has been even busier with lots of kids stuff going on. This weekend was 24 hours of cross stitch event, and I'll link that group below if you're not familiar with 24 hours of cross stitch. And it was also hashtag International Flosstube FFO weekend. I don't know why I thought I could, sorry, I'm gonna mute that. I don't know why I thought that I could participate in either of those events, because I knew, I should have known that this weekend was gonna be busy with kids stuff. The dance studio is able to have some classes they're able to have some kids in class in person while the rest of the kids Zoom at home. So you kind of get some of your classes in person and some of them you have to do at home, which has meant more driving down to the studio and kind of sitting and waiting around a little bit, which is fine. I know how to take stitching, right? ABC, always bring cross stitch, no worries there. But it's been a little busier that way. And then this weekend they had kind of their own in-house nationals since all of the dance team nationals were canceled. The studio owner brought in some guest teachers from a few of the conventions that the kids missed, and they got to take class with guest teachers in very small groups. So they were cycling kind of in and out by team all weekend, but that was a great event. Becca was able to go and had a blast today. I have not seen her that happy in a long time since she came out of the studio this afternoon. Because not only did they get to have these fantastic guest teachers, working in the industry dancers come teach, but got to teach 6 of them at a time. So it was a really super small, intimate class, and she had a blast. Abby wasn't able to participate because she had Broadway intensive this week. So we would have been in New York. It was kind of sad not to be in New York. It ended up being all virtual. But the program that this group put on this week was phenomenal. If you have kids who have Broadway dreams, you have to check out the Broadway Collective. I will link them below. This was their gathered summer intensive. It is not an inexpensive experience, but the number of Broadway professionals that she had mentoring her, giving her classes, doing dine and learns with choreographers and Broadway directors and casting agents was unbelievable. She had an amazing week, and today was kind of their big final share case. So that's a little life update that you didn't ask about, but that's also why, if you notice, there's nothing behind me, because we rearranged this room up here a little bit. The wall, I typically shoot against this wall over here. Well, with the Broadway intensive happening and just knowing that even going into fall, the girls are going to be taking some dance class here at home, we put up mirrors. We mirrored one of the walls so that they would have dance mirrors. And just the way this room is laid out, that was the best wall they felt like to give them the most room to travel back and forth. So all of my stuff came off that wall. It will go back up on this wall. Just haven't gotten there yet because this room has been occupied. Abby's intensive was 12 hours a day, and it was East Coast time, so she went 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. But she loved it. She loved it. Seeing her face light up, even on the tiny little Zoom screen of the share case, was priceless. So, also because of that, I have a mic. This room, because of the wood floor, and now mirrors and window, is echoey. I know it's echoey, and my videos are sometimes a little echoey. But we bought a mic because Abby was going to be singing and doing self-tapes. So I'm using it. So we'll see. If you let me know if you think it helps at all. It still sounds very echoey to me in here, and with a omnidirectional mic, it might pick up the echo too. I don't know, but we'll give it a shot. I'll give it a try. So that's it. I hope you guys have had a great week. I did get quite a bit of stitching done sitting in the parking lot at the studio while the youngest took class. Normally it's a drive down there, so it's not something you drop her off and come home because it takes about an hour to get down there. Normally I'd like do a little shopping or something, but you know, COVID, it seems like wandering around stores just cause is not maybe the best thing. So stitching in the car it is. It's lovely weather this week. It's actually hot. Today's like 89. It's going to be in the 90s. I know for you guys, you Southerners and Texas girls and guys, that doesn't sound very hot, but we're babies. We're babies here in the Pacific Northwest. My blood has thinned. So this morning we turned the air conditioner on. We closed up the house and turned on the air. All right, that's enough chitter chatter. We're here to talk about stitching and maybe a little bit of knitting this week too, because apparently that's happening now. And we'll talk plans and all that good stuff. So first things, I do have a little bit of housekeeping. Going through all the comments, there was a little bit of Q&A. One of the questions I got, and I'll address it more in plans, was I had gotten asked, what is Arbitrary August? And we'll talk about what I'm doing for Arbitrary August in plans. And I mean, in all honesty, I don't really know where Arbitrary August started, who started it, if it's even a real thing. I mean, it is. I hear other stitchers doing it. I just remembered last year watching people do Arbitrary August, which seems to mean to me, and what it appeared was happening was there was no theme, like there's, Jolly July or Finish it February where you're working to finish things. It just seemed to be a time to like put any other plans aside and randomly work on your WIP. So I saw people just pulling out of their WIP basket randomly, wheel spinning, whatever kind of shakes up your routine and makes it a little more arbitrary, I think goes. But I don't know. What do I know? I haven't been around that long. So we'll talk about my plans for Arbitrary August when we get to plans. I do have a fairly regimented calendar, like how I work on my projects. So it just seemed like it'd be fun for me to shake things up a little bit and get out of my like regular stitchy calendar and maybe touch some things that haven't been touched for a while because they're not on my WIP Go board or something that I work on every month. I have quite a few projects that have not seen the light of day for a little bit. So Arbitrary August seems like a time that maybe they can come out to play. Other housekeeping, VeloStitchers. This is the last week that we're going to be doing fundraising for Cleveland Clinic through the VeloSano event and our team, the VeloStitchers. And you guys have blown me away. I cannot thank you all enough. And next week, I'm going to do a big shout out to everybody who has donated. So you still have time to donate. My donation link will be below. You guys took me above and beyond my personal goal of $1,000. So I had set my personal goal at $1,000 and we are at 1,485. So that's amazing. The team set a goal of $10,000 and we went over that yesterday. So we're now at 10,301 when I looked right before we started recording this. So thank you guys so much. There's still time to jump in and donate to the cause of cancer research through the Cleveland Clinic. So to that end, our final VeloStitchers meetup, like fundraising meetup, will be this Friday. So one last time, Michelle, McKenna, Alicia, and I are doing a meetup, and it'll be Friday evening, I think 4 o'clock Pacific time. It'll be around there, 4 or 5 Pacific time when Michelle gets home from work. I will have the sign up link in the description box below. So you go to the Sign Up Genius link, all the instructions are there for where to make the donation, who to send the donation receipt to, and then you'll get the Zoom link to come join us. And we spend 90 minutes, sometimes 2 hours if we get really chatty, and we just stitch and get to know each other, and there's fun door prizes. So it's a good time. And so this is going to be our big closeout event on Friday, and I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support over the past 2 months for VeloStitchers. When Alicia first floated the idea with Michelle and McKenna and I, and we jumped on board, she said that she wanted to set the fundraising goal at $10,000. And I think we were all a little skeptical. We were like, yeah, I mean, let's make a big goal. Like if we get close, that'd be amazing, right? And I am just so impressed with this community that we totally made that goal. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. So with that said, I still have 12 and a half hours. Let me check my timer. I think I still have 12 and a half hours to do by Friday. No, 11. 11 hours and 22 minutes left to stitch on Harry Potter book covers for my 100-hour pledge. So you guys want to see where it is? I'm like mid-block. So I kind of got threads going everywhere. So here it is, Harry Potter book covers. For any of you who are new, this is what the full pattern is going to look like. I don't know why it has a Post-it note on it. So this is it. I've been working here down. I've been stitching it one book at a time. So book 1 is completely done. I was working on book 2 at the beginning of June when I pledged 100 hours on this project. I was up here. And now, guys, I'm almost to the bottom. This is it. So I have 11 hours and 22 minutes left to stitch for VeloStitchers. I think it might take me just a smidge, like not much, maybe an hour or 2 more than that to finish off this book. So last few hours, and I'm going to push to get to the end of the book, but I am so close. Look, it is a little slower because this is, you guys can kind of see, it's fairly confetti heavy through here. But this little pattern is pretty fun to watch it kind of pop out. And I have a needle minder. You guys see that? That's from the Frogwarts box from the Black Needle Society, the Frogwarts Retreat box. That box was fantastic. I do have an unboxing video. I'll link it below. Fantastic box. It was my first thing from the Black Needle Society. I have their fall box coming, and I think they still have a Halloween box up for sale, and I have their Advent box coming. Highly recommend. And this needle minder, they have a like laser cutter. It's upside down. And so they personalize them all. But that looks like a little chocolate frog card, and my time turner from Abby Topknot. So close. Next week, pending some kind of disaster, knock on wood, This is going to be out of the Q-Snap for you guys to see all of book 1 and book 2 done. And then it's going to take a little rest during Arbitrary August. But it has been really fun to just really plow through that and get a lot of progress. So that's been really fun. So what else did I work on this week? Pull my chair over here with all my WIPs a little closer. Well, there were some projects that had like designated days of the month that fell this past week. The first was this project, which I stitch on the 23rd of the month. It was a New Start Mania, but then I said I was going to work on it the 23rd of every month, and that's Letters from Mom by Jeanette Douglas. And there's like 13 charts. There's this main one, and then there's 12 other charts in the series. I'm just doing this main one to make the pouch. I'm going to do it 3 times, one for each girl, so that's why it gets worked on at least once a month. I am stitching this on 36 count flax linen with all the called for threads. And here is my progress for this month. Pretty much I've been making sure I do at least 2 strands on that like lacy border. So pretty. You guys can see that. I'll get it up nice and close so you can see. And then, so I did a few strands in the lacy border, and then I started this motif here, and this little flower, and the couple little doodads there got put in. So I already had letters done when I worked on it this past week. So I didn't have a ton of time to put into it, but I spent a couple hours on it. So it got touched. And that's a great stitch. I would say we'd see that next month, but you won't. And then on the 24th, I always work on my birthday piece that I started on my birthday back in March this year, Duke Clover. I bought the full kit from Embroidery. I swapped out the fabric, but I'm using all of the kit flosses. So I worked on this on the 24th. I did work this into an Enchanted Stitching task. So here's all the beautiful Owl Forest flosses. And I think this is platinum linen too. Pretty sure this is also platinum. Yep. Platinum? Flax? No, the other one was flax, right? What is this? I think this is... It'll be in the description box below what it is. And this is where I got to. Whoops. Let's see. The fold is right there. So I worked in this motif. I had the 3 little buds done, but I did the whole rest of this motif and then just a little bit up there to get to the 250 stitches for the task. So that's where I am on Duke Clover. This is really pretty. This is super fun. And I think this working on it a little bit each month on my birthday is the perfect way to attack this piece. Because I think if I just sat down and stitched on just this, I would get tired of the color palette, even though they're gorgeous. And so just coming out once a month and trying to do like 1 motif a month is perfect. I'd love to have this done by my next birthday, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get there. So, I mean, I'm making, I feel like, decent progress because I have this done and here. But this one that I started is really big. And there's a bunch of lazy daisies in this motif here that I've not really ever done before. So that's really pretty. I love that kit. I would totally buy more Owl Forest embroidery kits. And it is in my So Much to Love. This was the March bag of the month. How more perfect could it have been for my birthday project? And then the 25th was Merry 25 stitching. And so I pulled out to work on Holiday Quaker. Because Holiday Quaker actually had its birthday. It's a WIP birthday on the 3rd. And I try to work on every WIP on its birthday, but I've slotted Suffrage Act in on the 3rd of every month. So I just pushed this to Mary 25. So it got worked on in its birthday month, just not on the day. And let me tell you, I love this piece. I mean, this is so fun. It's gorgeous. It's not small. But I just don't get it out really hardly ever. And so when I pulled it out, I was like, that's a pathetic amount of progress for a year. We'll see. When I get to the end of the year and do my end of the year WIP parade, last year when I did that, I kind of pulled out projects as I was going through that I thought, I want this done next year. Like, I don't want to carry it into 2021. And so those things went on my WIP Go board. This is a big piece, but this might end up on my WIP Go board just because I love it. I'd like to have it done and hanging on my wall, but I can also see why, like, Michelle's Halloween Quaker is one of her oldest WIPs. And I can see why, because these are big. So anyhow, so this is what I worked on. I had this whole angel done except needed to fill in one of the wings. So I filled in one of the wings and joy and started this little motif down here. This didn't fit, once again, is a busy weekend. So this got worked on for Mary 25, but it didn't get a lot of time. I think that's the problem. Like, if I focused on this piece, funny enough, just like anything, if I sat down and just focused on this, I could get this done. But you can see it's big. It's a big piece. So I think that's also why sometimes these bigger things I don't focus on as much, because I know they're not going to get done really soon. You know? Are you feeling me? So I'll tend to focus on other things because I'm like, oh, if I focus on this, I could have it done this month or in the next couple weeks, or where this is like, if I focus on this, I could have it done by the end of the year. I have been taking a piece, typically my WIP Go pieces, and doing like one strand a day, like doing daily stitching on them. Annie, Joy-Filled Stitcher, she does something similar, but she does it just on her BAPs, on her big projects. So she spins a wheel and focuses on a big project each week. That might not be a bad idea. We'll have to see. I mean, I do love putting a strand a day into projects to get them like finished. It would take me a long time with a strand a day. I think she does 200 stitches a day or 100 stitches a day, something like that. So, but there we go. And this is on 36 count pearl gray. I think it's pearl gray, which is just a standard. It's not an over dyed. I think it's just a standard Zweigart color. Let me look. Yep, 36 count pearl gray linen, and I'm doing this with all the called for flosses, which are a mix of Gentle Arts and DMC. So some of it's called for DMC. Yeah, so there you can see it's some DMC, some Gentle Arts. I feel like I made one substitution, but maybe not. No, I think that's exactly what I'm using. So there we go. We'll see. I think when I get back to Mary 25 stitching after Arbitrary August, I'm going to be focusing on the Lizzie Kate. What is it? Holly and Hearts, because that's on my WIP Go board. So I don't know. Okay, so that was everything that had like a designated day. The rest of the time I was just working on the WIPs that I have listed in my Uno game on Semi-Sane Stitchers. So my number 1 WIP is Harry Potter book covers. Number 2 had been Love My Stitching. And when I finished that, I swapped it out for Suffrage Act. So this did get called I think at least once, Suffrage Act. And this I'm going to try to work on daily now until it's done. So I had been working on Love My Stitching every day. It's finally finished, so now it's going to be Suffrage Act. And I do feel like I'm getting really close to this. And some of you others, lovely viewers, had said, yeah, you are close. Like once you get the lady done and the words done, you're real close. So here's where I got to this week. So the dress is all filled in now. You can see the dress is all filled in. I need to do the red fringe. The white is already done. And I started on the plant here in the urn. So we'll see. I would like to have this done by the centennial of the ratification next month on, I should look it up, August 18th or 19th. I can't remember. Middle of August is the centennial. So I think it should be done by then. So there you go. That's Suffrage Act. My number 3 WIP for Uno, because you list 4, is arranging vegetables. I should say that it was arranging vegetables because, ta-da! Finish! It's a finish! Okay, maybe this weekend can be International Flosstube FFO weekend, because seriously, they're starting to pile up and I need to get on it. But this came out great. I love it, I love it, I love it. Definitely want to do arranging the kitchen aids next on the other half of this fabric. This is a 28 count Irish linen in the color tea dyed. That's how it came. I didn't tea dye it. And I used all the called for flosses with the exception of carrot that I thought I had and I didn't. So I swapped it out for fragrant cloves. And I think it looks fantastic. Yay, so finish, another finish. And this one ended up as an $8 finish on Stitch for Stash, and I took a 10% like bump because it was all over dyed floss. So it ended up being $8.80. I would be really in good shape for Stitch from Stash if it hadn't been for one thing I did this week that I'll show you later. Who's surprised? Who's surprised that I am now woefully in the hole, but I have a plan? I have a plan. It's going to be okay. So since that was done, I needed a replacement for the number 3 WIP. And so I replaced it with Tingles, because this is another one that I've just decided. Do you guys get like this on a project where you get to a certain point and you're like, I want this done. I'm ready to have it done. I can see the finish line. Michelle calls it rage finishing. I don't know that I'm rage finishing yet. It's just like all of a sudden, Suffrage Act and Tingles have gotten to the top of the list that like, I'm ready to finish these things up. So I think I used this for a task for Enchanted Stitching. I did. I used arranging vegetables, Duke Clover, and Tingles that I've shown you so far. So this was a WIP with a tombstone, and this is where I got to. So for the Enchanted Stitching task, I put in this little extra border part. Wow, that did weird things to the color, huh? Holding up that orange. And then I started the border down here for Gone Haunting. So I have Gone Haunting, Spooky, and then like the repeat of just this simple little border at the bottom, and this is done. So, I love when the color changes. It was more true before when it wasn't so bright. So this is on 14 count Aida in Prank by Picture This Plus. I'm using the listed DMC conversion on these charts. And with the exception of guacamole and sweet potato. Those I kept the overdyed, but there we go. So that's what I got done. It's that little bit. But I mean, ideally, I would love to get both this and Suffragette done this week before Friday and Arbitrary August starts. But I also have to get 11 and a half hours in on Harry Potter. So I don't know. Don't know that that's going to happen. Those two things might be my only like kind of holdovers into Arbitrary August. Arbitrary August. Why is that so hard to say? Okay, the last cross-stitching WIP that I worked on this week was my number 4 WIP in Uno and my Jolly July project, and that is Advent candle ornaments. I'm doing these as a gift for my parents for Christmas. So I decided to try to do one a week and finish like one a week during Jolly July. And then they would be done because I'm not doing the Christmas Day Christ one. I'm just going to do the 4 weeks, the 4 Sundays in Advent. But I figured I'd like to get them done and tingles and send it off for finishing. So this week I was working on the Joy ornament, and there it is. I got it done. The pink that I picked is super light, but our Advent candles were always a really light pink anyway, so I decided I was fine with it and I was going to leave it. It shows up really well in person, but it is a really, really pale pink. So I got Joy done, I have Hope done, I have Peace done, and I even got a start because it got called on Uno yesterday on Love. So I'm like a third of the way done, I feel like. Not quite a third of the way done with Love. So these stitch up really fast. This is on a 40 count platinum linen, and it's charted in all Glorianas, and I'm not. I pulled over dyed cotton flosses from my stash. So the leaves I'm doing in a blue spruce by Weeks Dye Works. The yellow, there's a tiny little bit of yellow on the candles, and that's Classic Colorworks Honeycomb. The lettering is Gentle Art Sable. The red berries are Weeks Dye Works Turkish Red. And then I picked a couple of DMC colors for the candles. So it's 818 and 554 for my Advent candles. So that's that. I'm super excited because this will be easy peasy, finish it up this week. And then that whole set will be done. I will have finished all 4 of these during Jolly July. I feel super accomplished. This ended up being a great plan rather than like working on all my Christmas WIPs or starting things. For me this year, this was a great plan because this whole set will be done for my parents, and they'll be all like fully finished and ready to gift, because I do want to gift them to them early in time for Advent season so they can use them this year. So there's all 4. And next week those will be all done. All done. And then I'm going to call Jolynn, and then hopefully Tingles will be done. And I'm going to send off those and Tingles and the set of hands-on design chalkboard ornaments. So they're all going to someone else to finish because my pile is big enough and I have my own finishing to do. Okay, so my last WIP, guys, is knitting. It's happening. I'm not a knitter. I don't know how to knit. Well, now I do. Sorta. Kinda. I'm faking it really well. But I always thought it looked really fun. I mean, basically, Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitching, makes it look really fun. She makes everything that she does look easy and fun. And there are so many, Candace K as well. She's another floss tuber that if you're not watching, I'll link her below. You should totally watch Candace. Doll, and does some beautiful stitching, like lots of really great stitching, and also a knitter. And so I'm like, this looks really great and fun. And then Michelle showed this Empower People bandana. I will link below to the Empower People site. It's a craftivism project. So it's like craft activists. And I was like, yes, I need to do it. So this is the bandana. I should have done this in color, but I didn't. It's black and white. So it's like a little bandana cowl. You can wear it up in your hair or wear it as a cowl. Michelle promised that it would be easy for a beginner. So I ordered some yarn. This is DK weight yarn, like how I'm pretending like I know what I'm talking about, from 3 Fates. I'll link it below. This is the colorway Mosey. Look how gorgeous that is. I feel not worthy of this yarn. So you gotta feel it. You have to put it on your face. That's a rule. It's not, I'm making it a rule. But it's so pretty. I watched a lot of videos. I watched quite a few of you suggested them. Hold on, I'm gonna find something pink, very pink maybe. Let me see. Yes, Very Pink Knits. See, I'm not making this up. Very Pink Knits has a bunch of slow motion tutorials even on casting on. So it goes like, she did it normal speed and they slowed it way down, which was handy for me. And then also Caroline Off the Grid, our wonderful Caroline that does amazing stitching. Of course, also a fantastic knitter. And she has a whole Teach Ginger Gerald How to Knit playlist where she does a bunch of knitting tutorials. Between the two of them, they got me going. I cast this thing on no less than 20 times. I ripped out the first like 4 rows. Almost as many, but I finally got it going, guys. And I think I'm doing okay. There's definitely some wonkiness going on down here at the beginning. There's definitely a little wonkiness, but don't look too close. But I think I'm really getting it now. Look, I'm increasing. Look at that. And I think I have it. And it's really, I can see, guys, it is pretty addictive. I am slow as all get out, especially the increase is a knit front back. I think I'm saying that right. I'm super slow at that and I have to think real hard about it every time. But the knitting and purling, I think I'm getting. So my question is, I'm getting to the part like this is going to get pretty wide, right? Because now you go like until it's like however long you want. I think maybe I want it like 20 inches. Is it okay if like they just kind of come down around the needles? That's how it works, right? Because you can't scrunch all of those on the needles, right? Also now, like I kind of wanted to take this today when I went down to the studio. I think I need a knitting bag. So hit me up, all you knitters, hit me up with, obviously Caroline, obviously Evertotes, but I believe she has gone off the grid. I think this was the week that she went off the grid. A la Off the Grid Needle Arts, and I think her Etsy shop now is closed for a bit. Not that I can't wait, because I do think that me successfully starting this means I need an Evertote bag, right? But I'm also open to all your other suggestions. I might be hooked. We'll see. We'll see if I can successfully finish this thing. So I have this to work on too. All right, that's all the WIPs. Plans for this week. There's a lot. It's the end of the month, guys. It's the end of July. Where did July go? Legitimately, it went so fast. All right. Enchanted Stitching. I'm going to do the last week of National Treasure. And then, so that has to all be done by Friday because it has to be done by the end of the month. There might be some like weekend pop-up event maybe. We'll see. They sometimes do one. We might just have like a couple of days off before new challenges come for Monday. Next month's movie is Princess and the Frog. I love that one. So that'll be really fun. So I'll do the Enchanted Stitching task this week. Alphabet Soup in Semi-Sane is O until Tuesday. I have Olga slated for O and I have not touched it yet. So I have to work on Olga tomorrow and Tuesday for Alphabet Soup. So I slated it into an Enchanted Stitching task. So Olga will get worked on. That was a Mania start this year. I got Harry Potter slotted into one of them. The only thing that I have on the Stitchy calendar this week is, of course, the 29th is Long Dog Leap Day Sal. So Cardinal Points will come out to play on the 29th, and I have that slotted into a Enchanted Stitching task as well. And then the last task is to work on a project that is between 1 and 10% complete. And they said new starts would count. So I'm going to have a new start on Friday. And I was kind of toying with whether I wanted to start this on the 1st of August or on the 31st anyway. Sorry guys, this seat is not feeling very comfortable today. I was toying with this new start if I wanted it to be on the 31st or on the 1st. And then I was kind of thinking the 31st anyway, because then it would be a WIP to put on my wheel for Arbitrary August. So here are the Arbitrary August. I'm going to trip over that all month. Are you guys ready? Buckle up. You're going to hear me bungle that for the next 4 weeks. Maybe 5. I didn't look at how the month falls. Probably 5 weeks. Yep. This week and 4 more weeks, you're going to hear me bungle Arbitrary August. Here's my plans. The regular scheduled Stitchy calendar out the window. I do have some projects with birthdays though. And I do still want to work on WIPs on their birthday, because I like to take that time to evaluate if I still want to stitch on it, like if I want to keep it or if it needs to out of here. So I have a few on the August calendar. Tingle's birthday is on the 6th. I'm planning on having that sucker done by the 6th. So that is the real push. Tingle's done by its birthday on August 6th. August 13th is Midnight Watch's birthday. And I started that for Carla's Black Cat birthday sal last year, Carla being crafty. And so I for sure want to get that out and work on it for her birthday sal again this year. I had been toying with starting Night Walk Down for her Black Cat birthday sal this year, but I feel like I should probably finish the first one I started, and maybe next year I can start Night Walk Down. Hopefully Midnight Watch will be done by next year. And then I can start Night Walk Down for Carla's birthday, 2021. So Midnight Watch will get worked on the 13th, which is Dark 13 Stitching. That's perfect. Midnight Watch fits in perfectly. Sophia is August 17th, and I started that for Deborah's birthday sal last year, Stitch the Stash. So I definitely want to work on Sophia on the 17th. Oh, Arranging Vegetables has its birthday next month, but it's done. And then Playing with Jax on the 28th. So I really have 4 WIPs with birthdays. And Game of Swans on the 30th. I lied. Game of Swans. 1, 2. It's up at the top. It threw me off because those 2 days are up at the top of the calendar. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 WIPs with birthdays in August, plus Tingles that I'm hoping to get done. So those will still get worked on their birthdays. Probably not Game of Swans because I've been working on that pretty consistently this year. We'll see. You know, I like to make rules and make plans so that I can bend them and break them. As Jessie Marie would say, my plans are written in sand. I love a plan. I love to change up a plan. However, so I am still planning on working on the WIPs on their birthday, but all the other regular stitching I do, like anniversary piece, my birthday piece, Crosses the Kingdom for my parents' anniversary, all of those I'm not going to do this month because it's supposed to be arbitrary. I know the birthday thing, the WIP's birthdays aren't super arbitrary. It's fine. It's fine. So what I did, I should have brought my tablet up. I didn't. I put together a arbitrary August WIP wheel that has every WIP I have that does not have a regular day assigned to it. So if it doesn't have a day of the month assigned to it, it went onto that wheel. I also excluded Harry Potter book covers because I've been working on it for 2 solid months. So anything that I work on in the course of a regular month that I always work on, not on the wheel, everything else on the wheel. And I'm going to spin the wheel every night for what I'm going to work on the next day. And that will be my focus that day. And it'll get a day. So every day there's going to be a wheel spin. I had so much fun doing that in Mania, honestly, guys. I kind of wanted an excuse to spin a wheel every day. So there will be a daily wheel spin for what I'm going to work on the following day. I need to do that at night because most of my WIPs live up here. And this is my husband's office, work from home office during the day. So I'll spin the wheel at night so I can pull that project out of here and I'll work on that for a day. If it's something like, the 13th and I'm working on Midnight Watch, I'll work on Midnight Watch a little bit and the other WIP because I'm not going to be doing full coverage stitching unless Farewell to Anger gets spun. I kind of wanted to bring out Farewell to Anger and just slot it into work on every day. But I also am going to be working on Suffrage Act and Tingles for finishes. If those don't get done by August 1st, I'll carry them into the next week. But they should be done really fast. Right? Really fast. So those are the plans. Those are the plans for this last little bit of July. Arbitrary August. It'll be fun to see. I mean, I'm hoping that stuff gets pulled that we have not seen for a while. Because as I was typing everything into the wheel, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't, like some of these, I don't even know if I've worked on this year. I mean, some of them I have, but like Martini Witches, I haven't worked on. I may have worked on Cinnamon Stars a little bit, but Playing with Jacks, I know I have not touched. And that was my own stitch along. It's my own stitch along. Stitch alongs. I have a Sal starting in August too. You guys. I always make my plans and then just pile more stuff on. Just pile it on. We'll talk about the stitch along in haul, which is next, because you'll see the fabric for it. I gotta get my bag. Are you guys ready for haul? There was definitely haul this week because I had some orders come in that I've been waiting for. The first thing that I told you guys last week that I had bought, but I hadn't, the pattern was downstairs, was this one. Please Scream Inside Your Heart. So I had purchased this last week, but I didn't have it with me. So this is by Plastic Little Covers on Etsy. I'll link her below. Love it. I mean, she is the queen of, for me, she is the queen of the floral border with the typography. Just always beautiful. And she charts an anchor in DMC. And I pulled this. It's a little outside the box fabric-wise, but I think it's going to work really well. This I had gotten, I'm pretty sure, from Joy-Filled Stitcher's D-Stash. It's a Ship's Manor Fabric of the Month. It says July Prim. And it's a 16 count Aida. And then these are the colors I ended up pulling. Because the pattern, you can see, has blue flowers. But I don't have white. I'm all out of white Aida. And I thought the blue would really be pretty, but with the blue flowers, I just switched them to purple. So I pulled a couple purples, and these are Classic Colorworks and Color and Cotton. And one of the pinks, these aren't exact, I don't think. No. I pulled from Stash. When I bought this, I thought I was going to start it right away. I was like, oh, love it. Love it. Please scream inside your heart. Yes. Motto for 2020. I bought it. I kitted up. I thought I was going to start it right away, but I've really been feeling the finishes. So maybe I'll throw this on the Arbitrary August wheel, and it'll be the only new start on there. What do we think? Does that seem legit? Once again, already bending my rules. So for one of the DMC colors I pulled, and it's a Victorian motto. This isn't the DMC that's listed, but I thought it was a good representation. So this is Seashell by Victorian Motto, and there's the other two pinks. So I thought those worked good. And then the two red tones for the red flower. Two greens. These are not the greens called for. Oh, 700 is. It was called for 700 and 703, but I had 700 and 702. Close enough. And then I pulled a couple purples for the blues. So what do we think? Do we think that's going to work? And then black for the words. I think it's going to work. Yeah? I think it'll be really cool. And yeah, I'm going to put that on the Arbitrary August wheel. If it is meant to start, it will get started. It will get spun. And if it doesn't, then it will just go with the rest of my kitted things. I've been kind of feeling kitting up projects lately and not starting them. Fairly unusual for me, but I'm going to go with it. As my friend Melissa said, go with what you feel, because another bout of startitis is always right around the corner. She is a sage. That is true. Okay. What else came in the mail this past week? I got my Floss Club, Color and Cotton Floss Club from Threads Entwined. I think these must be the July. These must be the July threads. So I get 5 skeins of Color and Cotton from Threads Entwined, and these were the 5 for this month. So I got Caramel Brownie, Cardamom, which I have, but it's already in use. This is a great, like, prim, grayish tan. This one is Caribbean, and it's blue and teal. So pretty. Here we go. Blue and teal. It's like matches my wall. Caribbean. So good. And this one is Carmine. This is like just a fantastic, like, ruby kind of pomegranate color almost. That one's good. And then a pretty light blue Carolina blue. It's a pretty light to medium variegated. So there's my Color and Cotton. I'm loving getting these, guys. I poo-pooed the Thread and Fabric Clubs. I was wrong. Because I also got my Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month for July. Should open the bag before then. I get a 36 count linen. I get a fat quarter of 36 count linen from them. And this month is in the neutral. And this month is Pearwood. Look how good that color is. That's fantastic. So that's Color and Cotton Pearwood. Great, great color. I don't know, some sampler is going to look beautiful on that. Because I'm going to be a sampler stitcher now too. I don't know. Oh, did I actually buy that Hands Across the Sea sampler? I don't think I did. I think I just put it in my cart. Ugh, you guys, I'm probably going to go buy that now that I think about it. Because Emily C. posted this this Hands Across the Sea sampler, and it's one of their smaller ones. I can't remember what they call them. Sweet bites, small bites, I don't know. It has the coolest, funkiest flowers on it. I know I at least put it in the cart. I may have not pulled the trigger. If I did, I'll have to go find my download and print it out and show you guys next week. But I don't think I pulled the trigger on that. Okay, I also got a package from Brandy at Stitch Me. I had placed an order, like a web order, for her chalkboard. She calls it dirty chalkboard fabric. And I had gotten it. I got a fat half for these charts that I had shown you guys. And this is what I want to start on Friday. Well, now I'm going to. I slotted in for Enchanted Stitching so that it can go on the WIP wheel for Arbitrary August that I'm apparently now putting new starts on anyway. But this I definitely want to get started. I have all the DMC. I've just been waiting. And so here is the dirty chalkboard. I got a 16 count Aida. How good is that, guys? Right? And I got a half. So this should do 2 of the charts because I want to do the big one and the little hoop. And that little hoop I think is bigger than I think it is. 56 by 60, but so this should do at least 2. I don't think it'll quite do 3. I think I measured it out and it won't quite do 3. But look how good that is. That's good. So I had ordered this last month. Her web orders, I mean, they're dyed to order, so they can take a couple weeks. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. She also sent in the package a fabric I had won from her a couple weeks ago for the new Tempting Tangles sale. And I think that starts in August. I think it starts like August 20th maybe. Brandy is dyeing a color called Lemon for it. And she's been giving away, if you've bought the Stitch Along in her group on the weekends in July, maybe she's going to do it through August too. I'm not sure. She's been pulling winners. She's been giving away the lemon fabric, and I won a piece. So I won a 28 count linen in her lemon color. Look at Sunshine. That is Sunshine personified. It's actually even a little brighter. Nope, that's right. Lemon. So this is Lemon by Stitch Me. For the Tempting Tangles, Enjoy the Sunshine, I think it's called. I'll link it below. But it's a summer themed stitch along by Tempting Tangles on Brandy's lemon fabric. I probably would have done it on a 36 just for framing size wise, but I won this gorgeous 28, so it's going on this 28. That chart is charted in Dinky Dye Silks. And I believe they're selling on the Tempting Tangles website a floss pack of Dinky Dyes. I was thinking I should probably do the responsible thing and pull over dyes from my stash. Like that would be the responsible thing to do. But I had such a good amount of credit for a Stitch from Stash that I wandered over to the Mrs. Sadis Etsy shop, and I found, I think all but one, I found good substitutes, I think, for all but one. And so I placed an order for Mrs. Sadis. It's going to take a while to get here because she's in Spain. So even when I ordered, she sent me a message through Etsy and was like, I'm going to get these out tomorrow, but shipments to the US have been taking a long time. And I said, no worries, I expected that. So I will start this when those come, which may be after this stitch along officially starts. But if you're planning on doing it, lemon fabric, Stitch Me. How pretty is that going to look hanging up on this wall? I ask you. All right, so those were fabrics from Brandy for new starts. And even with all that, I was still like in the black by like $30 because I've had a good amount of finishes this month. Now with arranging vegetables, love my stitching. I will finish all 4 of the ornaments. Then I did a bad thing. not a bad thing. Maybe a little crazy thing. I had, if you guys watch Michelle's, like keep an eye on Michelle Bendy Stitchy's auctions, there was an auction item that went up this past week that was something I was going to ship out. A very generous stitcher contacted me and said that she wanted to donate this set, amazing set, to be auctioned off for VeloStitchers. She had a very personal connection to cancer and wanted it to go to cancer research and wanted to know if she sent it to me, would we auction it off? And I said, absolutely, be happy to do it. And it's great for Michelle too, if some of us can take the shipping burden off of her. So I said, yes, absolutely, send it to me and I will put it up for auction. And then it came and it was so amazing that I bid on it myself and I bought it. Like, set my alarm for 6 a.m. Saturday to make sure I was not outbid. Bought it. You guys want to see what it is? If you watch Michelle's auctions, you know. It's the whole set of hands-on design 12 Days of Christmas. What is it called? Hands-on Design 12 Days. So it's all 6 charts because there's 2 per chart. So it's all 6 charts. The buttons, the 6 button sets from Just Another Button Company. But this is what made me decide I needed it. There is a yard of the called for Aztec red gingham linen. A yard. Which I'm sure is enough to do all of the charts. No problem. So I paid a pretty penny for this auction item. But I figure I saved myself shipping, right? I saved myself like, what's a flat rate box? Like $13. I would have paid to ship it. Happily would have paid to ship it for auction. You want to hear the really crazy thing? What makes this like completely nutso? I already own all those charts. I bought those charts and fabric from Stash Unload last year. But it's not this fabric. It's a beautiful red even weave, which I think some people might think is maybe a little more desirable even than the Weeks Dye Works. I admittedly have never stitched on the Weeks. It seems like it would be fine. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it. I have no idea. I have no plans to even start this set, but I know I want to stitch it someday. And so to have all the buttons and the charts and the fabric together, I love it. And it was going to VeloStitchers. Like, how could I not? And Microsoft would match the donation because my hubby works for Microsoft. So that happened and put me way in the red. Like, it would be irrevocably in the red, I think, right out of the gate. But I have a plan. Are you guys ready for the plan? In Stitch from Stash, you can get credit one of 2 ways. You can get credit for your finishes, also for destashing. Because the point of the group is to stitch from your stash and save money. Like, not be buying new things to stitch the things you already have. However, we all know that sometimes we buy things intending to stitch them and then we change our mind about it. So if you sell some of your stash, you can use that money as credit. Well, I definitely have an entire set of charts and fabric that I don't need. And I've kind of been toying with the idea. I do have a small other pile of things that as I go through, like when I was going to kit stuff up for Mania, I thought, I don't know that I'm really ever going to stitch that. So, and I have a few things that I finished that I haven't passed the stash on yet that are great charts in good shape. So I'm going to run a little destash. I'm going to do it on Instagram. It will be, I'm sure, 2martini stitcher _dstash. I haven't set up the account yet. that's my job for the next day or so. So keep an eye out for that. I'm sure I will announce it on Instagram and link it. And I'm going to have some stuff up on DStash. I'm going to have probably just a tiny little bit of fabric. But definitely it will be this set. I will have this set of charts that are brand new. I will have this set of charts and the fabric I bought last year. That I've measured out. I'm a very spatial person. Like math, okay, I'm okay with math, but I have to see things. So I literally, and these are all different sizes, right? These aren't like they're the same size, obviously. So I took the stitch count on each of them, figured out what size I would need, cut a piece of paper that size, and laid it on the fabric I had bought to make sure there was enough. If I can find it, I will insert that picture here. That's how I made sure I had enough fabric. Because the fabric that I bought from Stash Unload didn't go with these charts. I happened to buy it, and then I bought these charts, like just because I thought it was a cool color, and then I got these charts and I was like, hey, they go together. But there's definitely enough of that fabric, so you will for sure see these charts and that fabric, because it is it's a really pretty deep burgundy reddish even weave. That for sure will be up along with some other things. So check it out. Get me out of the hole I dug myself into. Is anybody surprised? No, none of you are surprised. You've already all been around here long enough to know how I roll around here. But I've been stitching like very consistently for over a year now, and so there's a few things that I now know as I kind of refine more what my aesthetic is, what I like to stitch. There's some really great charts that I just know in my heart I'm not going to get around to, because there's always more amazing things coming out. These amazing designers design faster than I can stitch. So, all right, this has been kind of a long one. Let's do giveaway. That's all I got left. So last week I was giving away this Christmas cross stitch book from the 80s that has some hidden gems in here. I did practically a little flip through for you guys because there's some cool stuff in here. And I was pleasantly surprised at how many people were interested in stitching stuff from this. So I told you just to use the word book in your comment if you wanted it. I used the random YouTube comment generator picker. And Mary McCarty, you won the book. Yay! My email and Instagram are below, so just email actually works best because then I don't lose it in a sea of messages. But if Instagram is the best way for you, that's perfectly fine too. But send me your mailing address and I will get this out in the mail to you. I am behind. I'm like 3 weeks behind on sending giveaway stuff. I'm so sorry. But I had another auction item in Michelle's auctions, and so I need to get that out for sure tomorrow. I have her address, so tomorrow is shipping day. So I will get those out. Let me know. I'll get this out to you. And for this week, while going through all of my stuff, looking at what could be good D-stash items, this little guy popped out at me. Sweet, sweet, sweet chart. And it's the last week of July, so let's stick with the Jolly July theme. And I'm going to give away this All Dolled Up by Little House Needleworks. Which one is this? Fa La La. So a couple sweet carolers with a lantern light, and it says Fa La La. So if you would like this, just let me know you want to stitch, let's just say ornament, makes it easier. So just let me know you want to stitch the ornament, and I will pick a winner next Sunday. So this is the giveaway for this week. Let me know you want to stitch the ornament, and that's it. that's all I have for you guys this week. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with me. It's always fun to sit and at least sort of talk to other stitchers. I really am missing seeing other stitchers in person. This has been dragging on longer than I hoped it would. I had really hoped that we would all get our acts together. And I'm missing my stitchy people. I would like to see their faces in person and squeeze their necks. So, but this is the next best thing, and I so appreciate if I like this being able to like hang with you guys once a week is really it's really been great to have this community. It's been really helpful during this time, and I hope it's been helpful for somebody else. I love reading your comments every week, and I appreciate them. So hope you guys have a good week. I will be back next Sunday, and until then, cheers.